Her Journey to Healing, Reaching Women with a Desperate Cry is an 8-week Zoom seminar in which Kamala and Winston help women to start living their best life by rediscovering the image of God in their life. Kamala, a licensed marriage and family therapist, joins her husband of 16 years, an ordained pastor, to marry the clinical and the spiritual. You will begin living your best life filled with love, joy, and peace. Register at kwministries.net for this life-changing seminar.
So anxious resistant. So remember there were 4 categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anxious resistant kids were on the opposite end of the spectrum. They didn't have a lot of self-confidence. They really clung to their caregivers, whether it's parents. When I say caregivers, I mean parents, grandparents, just old people in their lives who were, really part of that initial bonding experience. For these kids, they tended to have really exaggerated emotional reactions to stuff, but they also kept the distance from their peers. How did this translate into adulthood? That translated into anxious, preoccupied adults. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of formed less secure bonds with partners and feel really desperate for love and affection.
God is patient. God is kind. God is long-suffering. God never fails. God always hopes. God always trusts. God always perseveres. God doesn't envy. God doesn't boast. God doesn't seek his own, but is always seeking what's best for you. God rejoices in the truth.
That's right.
God doesn't define love. God demonstrates love.
Pastor, I finished the book last night. Oh my goodness. Man, I'm gonna have my niece read it some more today. But I couldn't put it down. What a powerful read. Your daughter did a phenomenal job in that writing. That was so good. Oh, the story was so, I could put myself in it in so many different ways, and wow, it was well written. I mean, I could not put it down. I was up with that book till midnight last night. I was like, whoa, I'm not putting it down. I was like, I wanted more. And I really love how she incorporates her spiritual life and the choices that she make.
So, Sister Sands, you have participated in her journey to healing, reaching people with a desperate cry. How was it?
Awesome. Awesome. It was a period like no other. It proved to me the importance of unlearning to learn. It was very enlightening, very burden releasing, and accepting oneself the way one was created, the way God intended for one to live.
Good evening, everyone. We are back. It is another Monday night with KW. We are excited as always to be here with you.
Good evening, everyone. I am so excited to be here all the way from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yes,
I'm
indeed. Yes,
excited to
indeed.
be here. I'm excited. I'm excited. How are you, Kamala?
I'm doing well. I cannot tell a lie. It's been a
Good, good,
good
good.
day.
I miss being able to hang out in the background earlier and stuff. So I'm super excited about tonight's program, Kamala. It's. I believe tonight, if someone wants to be, tonight can really, really, really change their life and just give them a whole nother way to look at life. What are your thoughts?
I think so. I mean, we have talked through so many different life experiences and life journeys, and it's always interesting to see the direction that people's healing journeys take them. And I think tonight is going to be just one of those nights where I don't think that somebody out there may not recognize that this is a direction that they could go on their healing journey. So I think somebody could really benefit from tonight's program.
Awesome, awesome. Why don't you remind us what KW Ministries is? What's our mission? What exactly are we doing here? And I think Anike said that we're going to be giving away. Well, no. I know, no, and we spoke earlier, and I know we agreed because I completely forgot. What we're giving away tonight is 3 of Tarin's books. Tarin wrote a book of poetry, Remember When. So our guest tonight, she's written an amazing book, Remembering When, and we want to give away 3 of them tonight. And so we're going to tell you in a second how to get them. But while Kamala is reminding us what KW Ministries is, why we're here in the first place. Good evening, Brother Glenn. Good evening, Sister Glenn, and the rest of you who are on. Please go and get your friends, go and get someone, tell them that they can't miss this, a journey through healing through cooking. I'm really, 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 really excited about tonight's discussion. You might learn a recipe or two.
Might just.
You have to know that our guest is a professional cook. She does catering, and so you might get a few recipes in there tonight. All right, so Marla, what is KW Ministry? What exactly are we doing?
Just right before I answer that question, I do want to say to the person who's on as Facebook user, go ahead and identify yourself so we know who you are, so that as you keep commenting, we can keep track of who you are. All right. So KW Ministries. I'm going to start the answer to that question by saying reaching people with a desperate cry.
That's right. That's
I
right.
want for you to really hear that desperate cry portion of what we're saying. KW Ministries is all about us, you and I and Winston, all of us, and the journeys that our lives have taken. The funny thing about life is that the journey that we go on can be can be filled with ups, downs. Sometimes it's chaotic, sometimes it's joyous, sometimes it's sadness, sometimes it's pain, sometimes it's good things, sometimes it's bad things. But what we all share is that our journeys have led us somewhere. And so KW Ministries was about really looking at our own journey as a couple, recognizing that we too went through some ups and downs. I see you, Marilyn. Thank you, Dr. Sales. And I see you, Sabrina. But we went through our own desperate cry in our own relationship, and recognizing it as we climbed our way through, right? The coming out of the hills and valleys of it, we realized that, man, if we can journey through the experiences that we've had and come to and start coming to a place of betterment, coming to a place of forgiveness, coming to a place of happiness, then somebody else out there is probably having a similar experience. And so Monday nights here with KW have become a medium through which we get to hear, not just, you don't get to hear just our story. You get to hear lots of stories from different people who have gone through desperate circumstances in their lives. And through their journey, they have come or are coming or in the process of coming to a different place. So this is a story. This is a journey of hope and healing.
Of stories, and we're so excited about that. So now, what we're giving away tonight is our guest tonight, who we're going to have a wonderful conversation with, has written an amazing book called Remembering When. We want to give away 3 copies tonight. Here is how you get it. You have to comment. You have to talk to us. And as you talk to us, so for example, Desireen Glenn says, "Good evening, everyone." So Desireen is going to go into a drawing. Stacy says, "Hi, hi, hi." She's going to go into a drawing. And at the end of the night, Annika is going to pick out a name, 3 names, and the 3 names that get called will be able to receive the book Remember When. Now, how you get your gift is once Annika says that you are the winner, then the next thing you do is, Sabrina says, "I love reading." That's nice. So keep commenting. The next thing that you do is you go to kwministries.net. That is KW. There goes that's what we're gonna send you. Except you don't have to go to Amazon to get it. Where you go is you go to kwministries.net, and then you click on claim your prize. Claim your prize. Fill out that information, and then we will order the book and have it mailed to you. So that's how we're going to do that. So we want to give away 3 of these books tonight, and we would love for you to get one. All you have to do is comment. That's all you have to do is talk to us. As you talk to us, your name automatically goes into the drawing, and then we'll be able to draw it later. All right. So I'm really, really excited. I want to remind everyone that on the 15th, our guest from last week, John Hall, will be back for that amazing discussion that we were having. If you weren't here last week, not calling anybody
Man,
James Edwards, you missed it. It was an amazing. I hope you went back and watched like you normally do, because the conversation was great. And he's going to be back with us on the 15th of August. All right. Do we want to
now
get a? Oh, go ahead, Kamala.
I was saying, now let's not forget that
Ah,
part of the reason that we are here is
go to the
also
start.
that we have some pretty amazing products that we want for you to check out. Now, you see it at the bottom of your screen. I tell you, Anna K is on the money with it. www.kwministries.net/shop. And what you can find in our store are some amazing material. We have got devotionals, we have got workbooks, we have got printable
That's
material, we have got books written by our own daughter. Let me share a little bit on the screen with you. So, if you navigate away from your page, I promise you will not lose us. You will find yourself here on our KW Ministries shop. And in our shop, first up, you will see Ariana Taylor, My Journey to Healing, Reaching Children with a Desperate Cry. And I want to say about this book, this is Ariana's journey through living with a chronic condition. And I know that there's somebody out there who is living that experience right now, and you know the ebbs and flows that comes with that. I know there's some kid out there that's going through navigating middle school and high school and elementary school. Some of y'all out there navigating college, work experiences, and you might find something in here that you are going to relate to. So I want you to definitely check that out. It is definitely worth the share. Another one that I want to kind of highlight tonight, and this is kind of my own, is that second book on your screen that you're seeing there, The Journey to Healing, Reaching People with a Desperate Cry, 8 Coping Skills to Heal. This is our coping skills workbook. This is your therapist in your pocket, written by your therapist in your pocket right here. And so I did want to share a little bit out of that book tonight because I think it's such a great workbook. Yes, I wrote it, but that's not the reason why I think it's great. I think there's some really good content in here, guys. And we don't get a guidebook for life. So when we do have some books that can be guides, I feel like it's a good direction to go. Now, I want to just kind of bring you guys' attention to, there's a the very first chapter talks about learning to affirm ourselves and letting God affirm us too. Mm-hmm. And one of the ones that I wanted to bring out to us tonight, when we are affirming ourselves, when we are saying those positive statements to ourselves, don't leave them up here. Don't leave them just in your mind. Say them out loud. The second step, what you notice I'm only giving you the second step, which means there's a first. So you got to get the book to get the first step. The second step is to say it out loud. And it might seem silly to say an affirmation out loud. But the reason being is, hey, have you ever noticed that if you say something out loud, that sometimes you say the following words afterwards? Man, that didn't sound the way it sounded in my head. That's because we process things differently when we think about it versus when we say it out loud. So if you want to get a really good kick out of your positive affirmations about being able to believe the things that you're saying to yourself about yourself, say it out loud. That's your step 2.
Winston, you are handsome. Winston, you are amazing. Winston, you are great. Winston, you're a good man.
That's productive. It.
Woo, that felt good, boy. I could do that.
That's it. That's it.
Good.
So that's just a brief sneak preview on some of the things that you can get if you check out our store. So
awesome.
Feel free to check it out.
Awesome. Hilbert Glenn says, I'm almost finished your devotional. Please share with us how you're enjoying it right there. Would love for, it's free advertisement. All right, let's take a quick ad break and we'll be right back with Tarin Glenn. All right, Kamala, I don't think we should go a step further with all these Jamaicans on here. I don't think we should go a step further without wishing everyone a happy 60th Independence Jamaican anniversary. So I know some
Yes.
of you were watching today and enjoy the different stuff that were going on. My cousin was at on JIS. What do you call it? Commentating on the day's events. So happy
Emancipation.
60th. All right. We're excited to have Tarin here. Tarin, come in the house. There she is.
Hi
Oh,
guys.
all
having
right.
having technical difficulties on my end tonight for some reason.
Well,
Well,
listen, if we lose you at all, fret not. We will keep the conversation going till you get back in. So
Thank you.
and there is so much for us to talk about tonight, Tarin. So we know that you are a chef. We
Yes.
know that you are an artist, and we know that you have added to your repertoire
repertoire.
writing now. But before we get into all of that, just 60th, Sabrina, not 16th, 60th, 60, not 168, 60. But before we get into all of that, Taryn, tell us about you and just share with us a little bit about you. She said, "Oh, okay."
Not
Where
much
to
to
begin?
tell. I know, right? um well, I am a single mom of two boys. Uh Getting ready to go to high school and middle school.
How
I'm
about
still
that?
trying to prepare myself mentally for that. It's a new phase, but I'm excited. I'm excited about that. I'm creative. I like doing a lot of do-it-yourself projects. I like um, researching arts and crafts stuff. So I'm always fiddling with stuff. If I'm not painting, I am reading, watching TV. I like music. I love salsa dancing. Um, Something I used to do back in Jamaica. Still love the music. And I love crafting. So I'm always coming up with some cool stuff. I'm pretty laid back most of the time. I prefer to be the one behind the camera, not in front of it.
And yet here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, here we are.
All right. So cooking, how is it therapeutic? I'll just get straight in it.
Let's straight to the point.
Just straight in it.
It's actually very relaxing for me. Um, I don't have to think about anything that's going on around me, any problems I might be having, if I'm, feeling a little depressed or, going through some of my health stuff. Being in the kitchen, being in the kitchen gives me that chance to just focus all of my thinking and my energy in that one direction.
Mhm.
It's very calming and it's fulfilling because at the end of the day, I get to eat what I cook.
And
There you go. There you
let
go.
me quickly say and how dare me forget this because this is one of the first things I knew about you.
Hmm.
Homegirl can sing like a bird, and and just full disclosure is my sister-in-law, my wife's sister. Um, sing like a bird. But Taryn, let me ask you, and I know Kamala is dying to talk to her sister, but let me just get in this question. So this is like a quick foundation. How did you discover what happened? What traumatic experience did you go through to cause you to discover cooking as therapy? How did you how was this discovered?
Well, to be honest, I had always been in the kitchen. I don't think anyone, including myself, thought it would be something I would be doing now as a career choice. Because, it was just me mainly experimenting concocting sauces and flavors just for the heck of it, But I started working in other fields and pursuing other passions. And then a few years ago, a couple of health issues started to, some that I had had for a while, for years actually, but in the last few years, they started to get progressively worse. And it got to a point where the last position that I held, my health issues kept impacting my ability to be able to really function to the best of my ability. And, going back and forth to the doctors and having to do appointments and tests and procedures, it just got really depressing and frustrating too. But thank God, he led me to the right medical doctor, who then led me to the right medical team that I have to this day. But not being able to now work meant I was home. And for, I think, the first year, it was just spent really trying to get used to the idea that I'm home, not getting up to go to a job. I'm home because I'm in pain. I'm home because I'm having dizzy spells that make it hard to move around. I'm home because, it's just different things. And it was a hard adjustment, I must say. And to an extent, it still is. I still have some dark moments dealing with it. But talking to my mom, every time I would make a dish, I take pictures and I would share. And, my friends would be like, "Oh, you do me so."
Hold on, Tara. We're not. No, 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 no.
It was patois, so let me rephrase.
Translation.
Why are you doing this to me? I'm hungry, And my thing was, sharing is caring. I'm only sharing my love of what I'm doing with you. So one day my mom was like, "Why don't you turn this into a way to make, a living? You get to set your own hours. You get to, work around when you have your medical episodes. And you determine how much you can handle, rather than that being determined by an outside force where you have no control, because you don't know when you're going to wake up one morning and realize you can't walk."
Right.
So I said, well, okay, the nerves and the fear kicked in at that point, because you're like, okay, well, my family is obligated to say they love my cooking. What about the average Joe? So then I started sending out feelers, started doing little orders for, church people and friends, and my INSPI family came in. Oh, sorry, short for Inspirational Choir. I was a part of the Inspirational Choir at West Indies College, now Northern Caribbean University. And we have a really great group here. So I started kind of, reaching out to them and saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. And then my really big break came with a good friend, Kia Fisher.
Hold on, Tarin. I want to pause you there before you go all the way into what this looks like. Now, there was a question that I wanted to ask you a little bit earlier in the conversation, which was this. So, there are so many people out there who struggle with medical conditions and getting diagnosed and getting the help that they need and all of that. And before you even got to the place of being able to recognize cooking as something therapeutic, what would you say to somebody out there right now watching, whether it's tonight or they're watching 6 months from now? You're going through this period in your life where it's so difficult to identify what the needs are, let alone solve them from a medical perspective. What would you say to that person in terms of advocating for themselves in terms of their medical needs?
Don't give up. Don't give up. You see, there's an adage that says, go for the second opinion. Don't just go for the second, go for the third, the fourth, the fifth. Sometimes some of these conditions are hard to diagnose because one, they're not common. And two, some of the tests that are needed to confirm these diagnoses aren't the commonly done tests, commonly known. If your doctor doesn't kind of know, hold on, let me consider this option. You could go undiagnosed for years. You could have all of these conditions dealing with for years, and constant testing is coming back saying nothing's wrong, you're fine. Those tests are saying that, but your body is telling you something's wrong. You have to keep trying. Don't give up on yourself. As hard as it can get sometimes, don't give up on yourself. And as you rightly said, you are your greatest advocate.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to fight for you more than you.
So, what I heard you say in your conversation as well is this idea that even while you were going through this period, Sabrina Leah saying, yes, girl, I know. Yes, we hear you. Absolutely. So many
Trust
people
me.
go through the same experiences. But I heard you say, you know, as I'm going through these challenges, I'm also having to find a way to refocus my attention. I'm having to find a way to redirect some of the
Yeah.
frustration, some of the pain, some of just the everyday just changes that
Functioning.
come with functioning. And so I heard you say that you had to redirect that into this area. What I want to know from you is, and I know that, you talked about the experience of cooking starting from an early age, and I remember some of that, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Started off with green cake in the oven. That was one of the first ones. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about Bruno around here.
No, we don't.
But you had this history and experience in the kitchen, and of course we had this history and experience, with our parents as well, who were quite adept in the kitchen as well. But
Yep.
there's a difference, I think, between having that experience, that background knowledge, and being able to translate that into, this is how I'm coping with something.
Yeah.
And so, what made the difference for you in terms of I'm cooking to cook versus I'm cooking as a means of coping?
I think I think it's just the realization um, of one day being in the kitchen. It was not a good day, and I wasn't hungry, but I had, scrolling through social media and I saw this recipe and I was like, oh, that looks cool. And so I got up and went into the kitchen. I didn't have all the ingredients. So I said, how can I rework this to make it mine, but use this as the base? And it was afterwards when I was done, I'm smiling. I was like, yo, this tastes good. I like this. I like this.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't feeling low anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, I would do that. The more persons would, reach out. Hey, yeah, you can do a little thing for me. You can do something for this event I'm having. And the more I was doing things like that,
Mm-hmm.
is more I realized, oh, this is kind of helping.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So even just being at home cooking for home,
Yeah.
I'm in that zone.
Yeah.
Let me let me tell you something I heard real quick. I heard you say don't be scared to try something.
Oh yeah, that's my biggest fear. Trying something new.
Right.
So I had to push past that fear of the unknown in order to get to the other side where I have more confidence now when someone says, "Hey, can you? I have a small event," or "Hey, I'm a single person. I don't really want to cook this week. Any chance you can just put up together a little meal for me?" And I say, "Yeah, man." So it gave me the confidence, and through that confidence, I started now showing other things that I would do that nobody else knew I could do because it wasn't something I shared.
Yeah.
My creativity, my crafting, and my paintings that I have.
There's a really good question coming in from Marilyn, Dr. Sales. My apologies, Dr. Sales, if you will. Um, that says, "Were you cooking for mental or physical health, or both?"
both,
Tell us a little bit about
both,
that.
both for my mental health. Um, so it's something that I have mentioned, within close circles, and but I do suffer from chronic depression. So I have episodes, I call them. So it helps me through those episodes because it forces me to get up and move.
Karen,
Physically,
Karen, as somebody who suffers from depression myself, question:
answer.
when that time, those times though, when you don't want to do it, there's nothing.
Girl,
Where does that energy come from?
it's the hardest thing. I'm not gonna lie, it's the hardest thing to get up and determine that I'm gonna go in that kitchen and I'm gonna make dinner because I'm not alone.
Hmm.
you know? Now the boys, I've taught them a couple of things. So they're pretty okay in the kitchen. And I would love to teach them more. Um, but on those days I have to get up and say, no, let's go. And those are the days I usually end up making 3-course meals.
Yeah.
I like that. And I'm
There's
assuming, would I be correct in assuming that Desiree wanting pudding with raisin and
Yes,
have a
yes,
deadline to get that
yes.
to her? Could
Oh
I
yes.
assume
And she
that
will
would
remind me too. Every time Desiree will text me, I go, is she gonna order bread pudding? And I have now made sure that I'm fully stocked with raisins.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you, doesn't that though help to motivate in those times when you
Yeah,
don't feel like going? The fact that you are doing it for someone else, doesn't that help to motivate you to say, okay, well, this is not just about me, no. I've brought other people into this world of cooking with me, so let me get up and get this done.
yeah. Full disclosure, something, and I'm glad you mentioned Desiree. She's one of my
She's
most
here.
loyal.
She said that. That's why.
Oh, well, she's one of my most loyal customers. Has been with me from the beginning. But funny enough, I just finished an order for her. She had asked me a couple weeks ago, and what she didn't know at the time was that I was going through
Hmm.
one of my episodes.
Hmm.
And even up until a few days before delivery date,
Hmm.
I was struggling. I
Mhm.
was struggling, but I got it done.
And
There's a couple of things.
mommy,
There's a couple.
hold on, mommy. 1 second. Divya is on here. No, just 1 second. I promise.
Oh, wait, hold on. I did not get to finish answering the doctor's second part, the physical part.
Okay, yes.
I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I have a list. I joke about my list. But I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and also pulmonary hypertension. Um, and because of that, I started changing the way I cooked. I eliminated a lot of stuff. So now I don't use iodized salts. I go with kosher salt or Himalayan pink salt. quote unquote healthier salts.
Oh boy, I'm getting
I
in.
use the avocado oils, the
Yes, ma'am.
grapeseed oils, the olive oil. I cook with healthier oils. I've been moving away from a lot of the meat. Every now and then, I gotta treat myself. Sorry.
We Jamaican around here. We gotta
We're
have our
Jamaican.
oxtail.
We gotta have our oxtail. Okay. And I saw I posted a picture. I did some brown stew goat. Don't come for me. It was amazing. But doing a
Saw
lot
that
more
picture.
of like the fish, the leaner meats. So I change and introducing more greens, vegetables, and I love salads. So I make salads. Every catering order has to have a salad. It has to. It has to be a part. So I changed in physically where that was. I changed the way I was cooking.
So there's something I heard you say that I think it's so important. Why I wanted to point it out because it's something Dr. Wallace said, Dr. Hayes said rather when she came on and talked about cancer, was the need for people, was
Yeah.
the need to be surrounded by people, and what you're doing here again. Talking about Desiree, and I'm using her because that's the person that said that. Is that these individuals that have
my
that are
my
using
circle.
exactly that are using your services have actually, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, become a part of your circle where
Yeah.
you're connected to others as you go through this journey of healing.
Yep.
Yeah. And truth be told, a lot of the times I will reach out. It's not necessarily because I want to talk. A lot of the times I intentionally make the connection because I know mentally I'm not in a good place, and isolating myself is going to make it worse.
Make it
So
worse.
I will intentionally just send a message, hey, what's up? I'm not going to tell you what's going on with me. I'm just going to have a regular normal conversation. That forces me out of that need to shrink in, close off, and not want to talk to anybody.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that, Winston. I'm glad you answered that way,
You're
Tarin,
welcome.
because I was thinking that so much of what you said, and Dr. Sales said it earlier, this is a good coping skill to learn. Let me bring it up so everybody can see it. This is a good coping skill to learn, just as journaling or deep breathing. And one of my thoughts around that was there's a couple of things happening. Like you talked about, Winston, that body of support that you're allowing yourself to bring in. I was also thinking about how a lot of times when we're struggling with depression, we do have that that desire to want to pull back and to isolate and withdraw. But in order to get ourselves out of that pattern that's not going to help us, we do have to recognize, and you said it earlier, Taryn, we do have to recognize that lack of motivation does not equal lack of capability. So you put
Yeah.
yourself
Put
in
that
the
up there,
kitchen.
and
You put yourself in the kitchen, not because you have the motivation, but because you know you have the capability to do it. And once you do the thing, you get the result. The
I think one
other
of
hashtag
the
thing,
I think one
hashtag
of the
sorry, hashtag lack of motivation does not equal lack
equal
of
lack of
capability.
yeah.
That was good.
The other
I think
thing,
one of the mhm.
the other thing right before you say that is cooking is such an involved experience. You are forced to use all of your senses. You
Yes.
have to use touch, smell, taste. You
Mm-hmm.
have to use all of smell. It's
Hearing,
all there. Hearing all of it.
when the fire alarm goes off.
Ah, ah,
I'm
ah.
just
Tell us that
kidding.
story. Tell us that story.
Just kidding.
But what I'm hearing from that in terms of it being a coping skill is such an involved sensory experience. It forces me to have to be in the present. And when I'm in my
Yes.
depression, I am usually in the
Not
past or somewhere in the
in
future
the
worrying
future.
about something. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
here. And so
Or
that's what
creating
I hear.
scenarios.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Talk to us a little bit then, Tarin, about using those senses that Kamala just described about in cooking. Talk to us about.
can we
So,
use Sabrina's question for you to answer this?
Okay.
oh, what was the
So
question?
what would you,
Oh,
that first part, what would you say your best dish is? And walk us through that sensory experience.
yo.
Anna Kay, can you bring up her Facebook page so we can show some of her dishes?
Wait, do you have Instagram?
I can probably get that.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. Go
because
ahead,
my
Tarin.
Instagram page is strictly food.
Okay.
Um, cheesecake. I love making cheesecake. In terms of desserts, I love making cheesecake. The the process, there's a it's hard to describe. I start with the base with the Graham crackers, and I make them myself. So I get the crackers and then I crush them.
Hold on. Dr. Sales, here goes the recipe, Dr. Sales.
Yeah, I crush them. I put them in a bag and then I manually crush them to where I want them to be, the texture. And then I warm some butter, pour it into that mixture, spread it out in the bottom of the pan. I use freeform pans. That way you can just release the sides when the cake is done. Then I will stick that in the oven for like a couple of minutes just to get the base firm. Then when I'm doing the cheesecake, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go full with the recipe because there's stuff that I include in it.
Can't
So
give away
my
all of
thing
it.
is, no. So my thing is, you get a
Help
basic
us tell some
cheesecake
stuff.
recipe. You get a basic cheesecake recipe. You prepare the batter as according to the instructions. And where I kind of go left is that I will add other things
Tell us one thing,
to the
man.
batter.
Tell us one
So
thing.
one of the things
One secret
that
ingredient.
I normally use is a hint of peppermint.
Mmm.
Oh.
Why?
The smell, that peppermint smell
I
that
know.
comes up, it smells amazing. And the
Mm.
hint of it gives the cheesecake a different taste. And it's really clean and just fresh. So when I finish with the batter and I put it in the pan and I bake it for the time it's supposed to bake. Once it's done, I take it out, I let it cool. Then the fun part starts. So I'll get strawberries, I'll get blueberries, blackberries, and I slice them up. I've used kiwi. I think there might be a picture of a cheesecake on here. Um, and I'll start decorating once it's set, then I start decorating the top of the cheesecake with the fruits, and I arrange it however I want to arrange it. And then when that's done, I get these little crystal decorative sugar. So I'll sprinkle on top to add a little
This is
oomph.
just mean.
And then I get either
This is
chocolate
just
sugar
mean.
and I'll drizzle over the top. I mean, for me, it's not
Dr. Hayes
just
said,
about
yum,
the.
yum, yum, mouth watering.
I mean, for me, it's not just about cooking the food. I want it to
I know.
look pretty. It
Yeah.
has to look amazing.
So I've heard, here are the senses I've heard you talk about. I've heard you talk about the peppermint smell. I've heard you talk about the food having to look pretty. I heard you talk about the crushing. So I'm
That's
touching,
the hand. That's the
right? That's
touching.
the hands. Yeah.
And then the
Oh
other
yes, the
the
smell, the peppermint
taste.
smell,
And then the taste, because you got to
yes,
taste the batter
mhm.
to make sure it's where you want it to be. So for me, I taste the batter, and sometimes I'll make adjustments to what I put in there so that I'm sorry, I just looked up and saw Stacey's comment.
Stacy,
But
I
yeah.
said this was just mean, Stacy. I didn't. Come on, let me take this all the way through. Let's take a quick break.
And I actually last year, a good friend of mine, she actually reached out to me and asked me to make a cheesecake for her specifically for her birthday. Her and her
Yeah.
husband, they're a few days apart with their birthday. So when he saw her cake, he was like, bruh, come on. So I made him a birthday cake, but his was like a chocolate version of it. They're
But
like, yeah.
mom, can you see though how healthy this is? I'm thinking, for example, just of that husband and that wife asking
Mm-hmm.
her to make the cake. Can you see how that would be helpful for her own health? I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dr. Sales said something earlier that I think ties into what you're saying. Here it is. She said, "You made me think of servitude. It's an
Right.
uplift in your spirit when you cook something for others to enjoy and they love it."
Let's take a
But
quick
see,
break.
that's the
All right, we are back, and Taryn will be right back. Come on, as Taryn
She
comes back.
does. Yeah. You know, I was thinking about the peppermint thing.
Yes,
I
and
was
you're
thinking
good.
about it from the standpoint of aromatherapy.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
peppermint is one of those stimulating smells, so that creates some alertness.
Mm-hmm.
And just in thinking about how all of this ties into cooking as a form of therapy, it's just a reminder to me that there are so many little nuances when it comes to putting a meal together that we don't even really think about. But that peppermint thing struck me, just like Taryn, I was saying, aromatherapy, that peppermint,
yes.
just the smell alone, you know?
I need to share something with you. So I have had the honor of being the personal chef for I think I mentioned her earlier, Kia
Mm-hmm.
Fisher. She usually puts on workshops and retreats. They're very motivational, highly uplifting. And I was honored to go on two of those as their chef. And these were like 3, 4 days, you know, things. And
Intense. Mm-hmm.
preparing for those for that is a lot of work. I do a lot of the prepping, I do a lot of the shopping before the actual travel day.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is packed to go. I bring my knives, I bring my own seasonings. I got to work with those two things. And then when we get there, I have to organize the space according to what works for me. And she has been phenomenal. She's aware of my health challenges. So
Mm-hmm.
she always, makes sure I'm good. So if there's a chair that needs to be put into the kitchen for me to sit down, because when I tell you, when the pain hits, there's no standing.
Mm-hmm.
She makes sure. And because I do a lot of that prep work in advance of these events, they go so much smoother for me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to, and it's just me alone. I'm
Mm-hmm.
preparing the meals for the day for each of these days. So some
Mm-hmm.
days they're like 3 meals for the day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the time, to see the smiles every time a meal is finished, and people coming up and saying, "Hey, good job, this was so good," it makes me feel even happier, because like I'm doing something. I may not be the most I'm not be the most famous person. I might not have as much money as some people, but what I'm able to give gives
Mm-hmm.
me back so much more than I can possibly say. And it really helps to keep me grounded.
But Tarin, Kamala, there's a truth here that I hope is not lost on the fun we're having. Is that life does not have to stop after a diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Life does not have to stop after a roadblock. Life does not have to stop because something in life is not going the way you want it to now. I was just blown away. And it's just blown away as Taryn talked about these individuals who she's serving, but who she's not just serving, who she's getting back from, going away on 4 different trips, doing what she loves at the pace that she loves it. So somebody out there who's struggling, somebody out there who's going through, somebody out there who life is not what you had planned for it to be right now. Your life does not have to end right here. You don't have to quit. You don't have to give up. And I think the word for tonight is redirect. Redirect, refocus. Go ahead, come on. I thought you were about to say something.
No, you said pace. And I was thinking
Yep.
about that when you were talking about, they put a chair in the kitchen. And so I
Yeah.
know that when that pain comes,
I
I
can
know
sit.
that I can sit. And I
There was
thought to myself, sorry, go ahead.
no, just to follow up with that, there was one occasion where the I had muscle spasms in my back so bad, and she was able to find pain medication to help, and I was able to finish what I needed to do. So in a lot of ways, that was a huge
Yeah.
blessing and help for me. I mean, I would have continued through the pain, but it was to the point where she was like, "Nah, sit, I got you."
Mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm.
know, and having people like that can make a huge difference.
Stacy says sometimes life simply changes to a better version after some of these diagnoses.
Read
That's
it
so
again. Read it again.
Yep.
And
sometimes
this is
life
this is listen, this is really, 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 really important. And until you've experienced, whether it's firsthand like Stacy, or whether it's
like curiously.
vicariously like us through our 13-year-old child, this is so important to keep at the forefront of our minds. Sometimes life simply changes to a better version after some of these diagnoses. Thanks,
I
Steve.
think
Yep.
I think sometimes what's happening, kind of going back to what you were saying before, Taryn, is that I don't want to I used the word forces before and I didn't like it. It prompts us,
Invites us,
Encourages
invites
us.
us, encourages us
encourages us.
to spend more time really paying attention to what our minds need, what our bodies need, prepping for things instead of just jumping into it
Jumping.
without thought or reason or rationale. It really encourages it, which is what we're doing all along. We tend to live lives in such busy, just one thing after the other ways, and we don't take the stand. Can't get my words out. We don't take a chance to recognize how that kind of lifestyle impacts us mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually.
I think honestly, this having the health issues that I have now, and that has put me where I am now. I don't think if those things had happened, I would have pushed through the fear to say, okay, I'm going to do this. Yes, I've thought about doing it before, but I don't think so. No. So now I cater to some families. I personal chef, so I'll cater to small families or small events or anything that's manageable. I'm getting out there with my art, painting, something I hadn't done in
That's a
decades.
good. Don't tell me
Hashtag
about the
her
painting. I
artwork is
want to.
displayed behind her.
I want to say something about
This
that
is my
painting.
artwork.
Well, no. Hold on. And Anna K wants for us to read this, so she's keeping it up here. Put it back on. I'm coming. Sabrina says, Amen. God never throws something your way that he knows you can't handle. And if he does, you just call on him and he'll help you through and answer your prayers. And Dr. Hayes says these diagnoses, talking about life challenges, life issues, allows us to understand what matters most. I want to ask you something, Taryn, and it's going to be triggering. How did losing Sean um, um, inform your desire to paint?
To be honest, I had stopped doing anything. I had stopped writing my poetry. I had stopped writing my stories. I had stopped drawing. I just stopped. Um, Cooking got it started, you know. The and I almost didn't start when I decided to pursue this. I was looking at culinary schools, and I think I've mentioned this before. And there was one school I went to do a tour of here in Georgia, and we were touring the facility. We came to a corridor of framed pictures with the names and their job titles. And as I'm scrolling through with the tour guide, and he's talking about, oh, da, 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 and I'm looking at the plaques, and I'm like, oh, okay, this looks nice. I came across one plaque, and it said, Sean Glenn, pastry chef. I remembered I had the thought of mine to take a picture of it, and I still have it to this day. But I saw that, and I never went back. So fast forward, health issues escalating now to the point where, okay, I'm not used to sitting down at home. I'm not used to not working. I need to do something. I need to find something. Like I said, my mom was like, why don't you start doing, offering your cooking services? I'm saying, yeah. But that started the journey to now, every now and then I do a little something here and there, and until I think it was Stacy shared something on Facebook with this artist, Molly's artistry, I think it is. And she was doing these pouring techniques, and I was fascinated. I was like, yo, I want to try that. And I was like feeding into those things, and watching them reminded me of Sean's paintings and how he would draw. And it just, I remembered I had, memories of him, the canvas spread out, and he's just kneeling down, painting. And at first, honestly, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that, because it felt like I was trying to replace his memory. But then I said, no, if he was here, he would be the first one to say, yeah.
That's what Stacy just said.
Oh, so now, actually, one of my pieces, I painted it in his memory. Let me see if I can show it. It's that piece right there. It was kind of similar to some of the pieces that he would do, and
I saw in the corner. Come on, I saw it in the corner. Go back on it again, Taryn. Look in the right hand top corner. Come on, doesn't that look familiar?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
The theme there, like something I saw him do. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So I think with Kamala and I had a conversation. She said it accurately. I'm channeling him through this, through my art, and it keeps me close, or keeps him close to me. Because every time I finish a piece, it's like, yo, what do you think?
What I
You know,
did, buddy.
yo, and I can picture him like saying, "Yes, yes, my sister." You know,
And it's not just the painting too; it's the cooking. Because I remember
cooking
when,
because he could throw
yes, I
down.
remember when he had us over to the house, Kamala,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and that piece.
Mm-hmm.
So again, there's something very important here that I don't want for us to miss in us going down memory lane and dealing with this stuff is in dealing with tragedy, in dealing with death. One of the things we probably shouldn't do is just abandon life. We probably shouldn't abandon those things that we shared with our loved ones. Because as Tarin has taught us and as Tarin is teaching us, is that doing those things can, while it doesn't bring the person back, it the closeness, the what's the right word I'm looking for?
That
It
bond,
can,
The
yeah,
bond
yeah.
it's
that
still there.
exactly, exactly. It's 10 o'clock at night, Taryn. We had
Ah, wow.
Goes fast, doesn't it?
I know. But
it goes.
it takes people like mommy specifically, I have to say, because we talk a lot about these kinds of things, and she's always been like, you need to pursue this, you need to pursue this, go ahead. I wrote my book.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know until I started promoting it. Friends from college are like, you finally did it. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? Yeah, man, you used to write with me. You were there and you had this, you were starting a novel. What?
Mm-hmm.
Really? This is 20 plus years later of me seeing it, where I have it, a book with my name, and it's published.
How do we get your paintings? How do we get your book?
Okay, so I shared the website with Kamala. It's you can find my paintings through another
Tell us the
really, really,
website. Tell us the
it's
website. Alex,
brilliant.
put it up.
It's brilliant dash
Dash
brushes.
brushes.
Yeah,
I'll put
brilliant dash brushes.com. It's actually owned and operated by a really good friend of mine. Her name is Charmaine Shellsworth. She's a fabulous artist. It's her site, and I am been very honored to feature my artwork on her website. She's actually the one who also helped me a lot in getting my book published. So kudos. But that's the website. So you'd click on the shop link, and it will bring up my paintings. They would be under my name.
And then the book is Remembering When.
Remember When
Remember When,
by
and that's at
Tarin Glenn,
Amazon.
and it's on Amazon. Oh, I also do photography. So that's actually one of my photos, the cherry blossoms.
Oh wow, wow. Taryn, it was such a blessing. You know, I've been begging you to do this for months.
I
Um,
know.
no. I'm nothing before the time. I'm really, really,
I
really
know.
grateful. I hope I know we were inspired at least by being hungry.
Oh,
I know we
yes.
were inspired, but I also hope that
Yeah.
we got some really good takeaways. Don't give up. Don't,
Yeah.
if you
Don't give
trust your
up.
body, don't listen to what anybody is telling you. If your body is telling you something, trust your body.
Yeah.
Then,
And that's a good point.
Redirect,
No, no,
refocus.
what you just said, Winston, is a really good point.
but I'm just saying
Trust
what you
your
said.
body. Don't allow anybody to dictate how you should feel. They're not in your body.
Right,
They don't know. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn, to understand. Listen, I can't do this. That's my reality.
right.
Pushing myself past what I cannot do only hurts me. And
Mm.
it was hard. And it's still hard sometimes because, you want to do more.
Hmm.
But understanding your limits and your boundaries,
Mhm.
it helps heal you faster.
Yes.
than hurt.
So trust your body. Redirect. Kamala was saying redirect,
Redirect, refocus.
refocus. Have surround yourself with people. Um,
Yes.
Again, they can be either voluntary, where they're just that's just your crew, or involuntary, where they actually pay you to
Yeah. That
surround
that that
you.
that part right there. See that part right there. Pay me.
They actually pay you to surround
with
themselves.
the with the beauty that is
Yes,
here.
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
So
And poetry book. It's a book of poetry. Let me just be clear.
that's
A
right.
book of poetry. Yes.
All right.
Um.
Well, let's see which three people gets your book tonight.
Ooh,
All right, three winners.
excitement.
Drum roll, please. And you guys have been active. Anna Kay is gonna bring up our. I feel like we need to have a word for this. Raffle doesn't sound
Raffle.
right.
Listen. It's about to get dangerous.
Drum roll, please. Where's Tamara?
Ah!
First,
All right.
Vivian. Dr.
Vivian,
Hayes, our
Dr.
first
Congratulations.
Hayes
winner.
is our first one. Who's our second one?
Stacey said she
All
hasn't won
right.
in a while, so let's
Oh yeah.
see.
Let's go. Let's go.
If I know Stacy already has that book.
All right, let's see who our second winner is. Desiree, Desiree, you are our next winner, number 3 and final, giving away 3 books. One more to go, guys.
Fingers
All
crossed.
right,
Fingers crossed.
all right. Who gets it? Who gets it?
Oh, you're gonna
Desiree.
do it again. Desiree.
Desiree trying to win twice. One book, Desiree. One for you tonight.
Just one. Fingers crossed. No, we gotta do
Vivian,
it again.
we
Hold
gotta
on.
do it again. One more. All right, who is it gonna go to?
Mm. Yes.
Tarin Glenn. Dr. Sales, I see your question. I don't see my name. I'm not sure why it's not popping up.
Because
Maybe
of Facebook. Because
Facebook.
it says Facebook
user.
user.
Yeah, it doesn't allow us to do that. I'm so sorry, but we've got
All
our
right,
3
so
winners.
we'll get a fourth book. Because I think
Just for her.
yeah, because she participated really well and she's been on a group.
Yes.
So let's do
Absolutely.
a fourth book. All right. So in order to get your books, here's what you have to do. Go to kwministries.net. Where is it? Go to kwministries.net, click on the claim your prize, enter your information, and Anna Kay will take it from there.
And we got
Taryn,
4 winners tonight. Dr. Sales says she's still ordering because she wants to support.
Yeah.
4 winners and a sale.
Taryn, she means that.
Oh, I believe her.
She means that. Let me say this quickly. Taryn, thank you so much. Well, let me let Kamala close off since this is
Oh, well, you were off to a good start. But listen, I think this has been such an illuminating conversation. Sorry, I was off
Yes.
screen for a second. There's so many things that we don't often think about as being in the realm of here's what helps me to cope. And you've shown us tonight there's not one structured way, but you've shown us through the art of cooking, you've shown us through the art of painting, you've shown us through the art of writing that it is possible to manage situations in our life that otherwise feel like really desperate cries, but that
Yep.
we can get through them, we can walk through them by redirecting, refocusing, allowing yourself to focus on the moment, and always remembering that lack of motivation does not equal lack of capability. Aaron, thank
Next
you so much.
next week Monday night, social worker Paulette Green Griffiths will be with us out of New York. She has an amazing story. I don't know how much of her story she will talk to us about. She's also going to touch on the whole cooking. She actually teaches it, Taryn,
Nice.
therapy. But I don't know how much of her personal story she will share with us. But all I'm saying is bring a lot of tissue, because she has an amazing, amazing, amazing story. I don't know how much you'll share with us.
I'll
Hopefully,
definitely check it out. I'll
yes,
definitely be checking it out.
it's
You
going to
know,
be really good. Next week, Monday night at 9 o'clock, and then John Hall is back with us. I'm so looking forward to it. All
that was
right.
such a good program.
Thank you all so much, everybody. Taryn, thank you. Kamala,
Thank you
I miss
guys.
Have a great night. Congratulations to our winners.
Congratulations to our
Congrats,
winners.
guys.
Go to
This is so good.
kwministers.net, claim your prize, and I have 3 private chats here. Let me see, hold something real quick before you go on. Emancipation.
Old.
No, sorry, okay.
You're okay.
Okay, all right, good. All right, everybody have a wonderful night.